Hello, everybody. Brad Johnson here, and welcome to a special edition of New Earth Teachings Live. I'm happy to see everybody here. I'm very happy also to do this special edition. I just came back from a 1 week road trip, and I was actually very, very happy just to get back home and just relax. I had a very fun time. I had a wonderful time with the road trip, but I also just enjoyed just being able to get back home and being able to rest, put my feet up, because I was just traveling and walking and driving and hiking and doing all these really fun things. But of course, it does take a toll on you after a week. So I'm just happy to come back, and I wanted to create this special edition because, of course, I was not here on Friday to do the usual New Earth Teachings Live. So I said, you know what, as soon as I come back, then today, 12 o'clock on Sunday, I will do a special edition. And the special edition today is all about emotional encryption. I was talking about this a little bit last week as well. But before we get into today's broadcast, and hello everybody, good to see you all here, we're just going to go into some announcements. So the first announcement is a special offer. So if you go to newearthteachings.com and you use the promo code ENCRYPT20, that's ENCRYPT20, all capital letters, and you can receive 20% off all products on newearthteachings.com. And this is good until this Tuesday, June 25th. So the end of day, Tuesday, June 25th, that's when this will expire. Also, the 1 hour private one-to-one sessions are now back. So the 60-minute sessions are now available. I've gotten a lot of requests in the past for people who want to do the 60-minute sessions with me. And for the time back then, I was more so just looking into the 15 minutes and the 30 minutes because I wanted to try and get more people, signed up to sessions as I could. But what I noticed as well too, when I was doing a 15-minute and 30-minute, it's really just not really enough time to really scratch the surface for certain people who really want to work deeply with me, who want to do, whether it's healing work or connect with Adronas, to have more time to communicate with him. So I really just kind of got back into the alignment of bringing back the 60-minute private one-to-one sessions. So those are now back and they are now available. So again, just go to newearthteachings.com, use the promo code ENCRYPT20, and again, this is 20% off everything. So all sessions and all products on newearthteachings.com will now be 20% off up until Tuesday, June 25th. So go ahead and check that out on the website. And of course, time is getting closer for the Mount Shasta Spirit Ambassador Retreat and Activation, happening August 16th to August 25th, 2019. And for more info, you can go to newearthteachings.com. You'll see this poster that you see now on the homepage. Just click on that poster and that will take you to the event page, and you can find out more information, and of course you can sign up there as well. So as I talked about in the weeks past, Mount Shasta is going to be a really incredible retreat. We're going to have lodging available. We're going to be, again, spending 7 days just being able to work in certification relating to the EQ method and to the spirit code activation as well too. I am actually holding right now in my local area of Vancouver, BC, bi-weekly classes with the Spirit Ambassadors, Spirit Ambassador training. And so this is also going to be available in Mount Shasta. In the times ahead, I will look into possibly doing some more events along the west coast, from BC, going all the way down to California most likely, maybe Arizona as well too, or Nevada. And that is something I would like to do. That's for the future. But right now, for the Mount Shasta retreat, this is still available. Spots are still available. Again, we're going to be looking into working with the spirit codes, working with the EQ method. There's going to be yoga. There's going to be qigong. We're going to be exploring Pluto's cave. We're going to be exploring waterfalls. We're going to be exploring parks. We'll be in a pyramid as well too. It's going to be a really incredible time. So again, all you have to do is just go to newearthteachings.com, click on the poster. You'll see everything that's there. We're also going to do the remote viewing experiments as well too. Going back thousands of years, we may even do some extraterrestrial contact when we get closer to Mount Shasta and connect with a lot of the ET presences that are there as well too. But most importantly, we're going to be connecting directly with spirit. And we're going to connect more about how to work directly with the top of the ladder. And that's what the Spirit Ambassador is all about, is being able to go right to Spirit, go right up to the Creator, go right up to God. And then Spirit will basically work with you and point liaisons to you. Some of them can be angels, some of them can be extraterrestrials, But that's really, I'm showing you guys a very, very deep, powerful way of working very, very strongly with spirit and seeing your life just transform amazingly for those who are very much open to receiving the information from spirit. So again, it will be certification, and that'll be happening between August 16th and 25th. And moving on, South Africa, of course. Cosmic Exploration Tour of South Africa. You can go to wonderworld.vacations, and you can see the South Africa trip with Michael Tallinger and myself. So again, Michael Tallinger will be giving some presentations to some of the sites that we're going to be going to, and Adronis will be coming in and sharing information as well. And of course, I will also be doing the remote viewing experiment as well too, working with spirit, connecting people to these sites, and again, going back in time, as it were, to look at these sites in their ancient form. So again, lots of amazing sites that we're going to explore. Again, I'm also going to be going to Cape Town to do private sessions there as well too. So between Johannesburg and Cape Town, all around South Africa, we're going to have an amazing trip. And again, this is such an adventure, right? Mount Shasta is an adventure, and this too is going to be a beautiful adventure as well too. So again, just go to wonderworld.vacations, okay? And you'll see the South Africa with Michael Tallinger page there. Just click on that. You'll find out more information about the event and come and join us. And the same thing goes for Mount Shasta. So two incredible adventures, month to month, right? It's going to be a really, really incredible time. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's event. So again, thank you everybody for being on the chat. So we will have a Q&A later on. I won't be doing any healing requests today, but I will be for next Friday. So when we come Friday this coming week, there will be another New Earth Teachings live, and I'll be doing single request healings at that particular time. So again, for today, it will just be Q&A once we get past the presentation here. I'm just going to be talking a lot about the emotional encryption. Now, I have talked about the idea of one of the videos that I've done, which is called Emotional Moods of Entity Attachments. And I had a PDF included in the video description of that video. And so if you guys can pull that up during this, either if you want to pull it up now or during the recording, that's fine. I have it pulled up on my browser here as well too. But we're going to be looking into the idea of emotional encryption. Now, the reason I've wanted to do emotional encryption was because what I was noticing is that there was a great deal of, I guess you could say, small things within my body that were still quite prevalent. And I was actually getting a friend to do a radionics healing on me. And she was discovering some really horrifying things within myself. And one of it was actually radiation, that there was actually a feeling of radiation poisoning within myself. And I was like, how can that be? I've never been around a nuclear power plant or anything of that particular nature. But what I've been getting from spirit, checking back in it, is saying, well, a lot of this is psychic intrusion. A lot of this is entity attachment. A lot of this is them intruding the organs and being able to spike up these vibrations. It's quite easy to do. If you guys are familiar with radionic devices, then this is exactly what it does. So all you have to really do is just get the holographic signature of a person, right? You can get their signature, you can get a hair sample, you can get a skin sample, you can get a blood sample, you can just get their name and their picture, and that's all you really need for radionics. And you can actually tune into their vibration, and you can do wonderful things for them, or you can do horrifying things for them, right? So I'm just going to see if I can pull something over here on my desk, if you guys can see it. Just give me a minute here, guys. Okay. Radionics. This is it. This is the box. Okay. This is actually available on my website as well, too. It's created by Dr. Mulder, so I'm basically just doing like an affiliate thing to get people who want to look into radionics. They can grab a box like this, okay? This is radionics. Now, my friend who has a radionics box is much more sophisticated than this. This is about $150, $200 model that I received from Dr. Mulder, who creates these as well too. But this is it, right? Being able to create this takes a bit of time, but it's not too overly difficult if you have a basic experience with electronics, etc. So that's the radionics box, okay? So again, that's just one particular idea of a technology that can do it, but there can also be attachments that can come in and they can actually start to spike certain areas within the body up and bring harm to the body as well too. So what we do is basically going into emotional encryption. We work on firstly clearing out the organs, right? So let's say, for example, we're working with the heart, right? Now, the heart itself on an emotional level really deals with guilt, shame, pride, arrogance, right? That's looking at it in its own flip side, in that aspect of heavy emotional energy. And what we need to do is we don't just encrypt the emotional organ or the organ in question. We don't just encrypt that with emotion, right? We really want to make sure we're cleaning that organ out, okay? So again, this is where I'm talking about the BCR technique, okay? So you are using the BCR technique in combination together with emotional encryption. Now, I'm just going to give you guys a bit of a disclaimer here. The emotional encryption is not an easy thing to do, okay? It's not easy. This is why I'm available to help people with getting their organs encrypted. It's not an easy thing, right? You really have to spend time cleaning out the organs. You have to clean out all of the emotional debris in all of the organs. And once you're able to do that, you need to really form a great bond with spirit. You need to form a great bond with your legion, with angels, right? You want to be able to work with your own higher source, right? With your higher self, with your soul. And that is what's going to work in helping to bring in the encryptions. Okay, now I can do this with my connection with the spirit codes and spirit and helping people in that way. But again, this is a video that's made for you, and it's kind of more for the intermediate level of people, right? This isn't really for the beginners, okay? This is if you're just really starting on this, you may be kind of confused about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to share. Bear with me. I'll try and keep it as simple as I can. But there is quite a bit of information relating to emotional encryption. So again, to bring you up to speed, if you guys are just tuning into this right now and you have not seen the video, Emotional Moods of Entity Attachments, please go to that video after this broadcast and watch it. Okay, watch the Emotional Moods of Entity Attachments and also look at the BCR technique. Okay, so those are two essential videos. If you have not watched those videos, you cannot do these exercises that I'm going to share. Okay, you have to see those two, BCR technique and emotional moods of entity attachments. That's the prerequisites before you can do any of this particular type of work should you decide to do it yourself. Okay, so as I was saying, there is radionics. That is one particular type of technology that can tune into the hologram of a person and they can start messing around, right? They can do things in a very loving and beautiful way, or they can be used in malevolent purposes, okay? Now, there's a lot of beings, a lot of extraterrestrials that do have technology. Again, the radionics technology is even more advanced than a lot of what we have on the planet here. And they can do some pretty nasty things, or they can do some pretty wonderful things. It's always two sides of a coin. So when you're working with your own particular forms of emotional energy, and you're learning how to encrypt that within your organs, here's the great thing. Radionics can't touch it, okay? Spirit can't touch it because they do not know the emotional, I wouldn't say spirit, but radionics cannot touch it. Spirit can touch anything. God can touch anything. Going back, spirits working together encrypting your organs, radionics can't touch it, and spirit attachments or entity attachments can't touch it because the organs are locked. It's like having a veil around your organs that is assigned with a specific emotion that only you yourself can feel. If that person is not able to feel the same emotion that you are, that person cannot invade your organ, right? So this is, again, something that came to me. It was actually coming to me through angelic guidance as well, too, to work on emotional encryption. Now, some people are familiar with, passcode encryptions that we could say a certain word and all that. To basically try and encrypt something. When I'm saying encryption, guys, because some people are confused by that word. So, Brad, what do you mean by encryption? Well, what I mean is that you're locking. It's the ability to lock and to be secure, right? So, like if we have a website that has encryption, right? Secure socket layer encryption, right? They basically have a security relating to that website to prevent any kind of hacking or any particular type of intrusion, okay? This is the exact same thing that I'm talking about relating to emotional encryption. But emotional encryption is far better, right? Looking at any particular forms of technological aspects to basically secure your own organs. So what you want to do is you want to work with the antidote of love. You want to work with love. So as I've talked about in previous videos, especially with the BCR technique, is that we get high. Okay, we start to bring loving energy, really high loving energy into our bodies, and that cleans out the debris. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look into our organs. So let's say, for example, as I talked about with the heart, that we have certain forms of emotional assignments there. We can have guilt, we can have shame, we can have pride, we can have arrogance. Okay? We want to look into much of the facets of those emotions that are highlighted within our life stream. Okay, when I'm talking about the life stream, I'm talking about from the day that you're born to where you are right now. That's your life stream. Okay, we can even look into the aspects of future probabilities as well too with your life stream to basically help to altering timelines so that you're moving more into the place that you want to go. And again, all of that is based upon feeling. All of that is based upon emotions as well too. So basically when I'm saying life stream, this is representing your life from the day that you were born to where you are right now. But what we want to do is we want to clear out a lot of those emotional woes, right? So we want to just get an idea of it, right? And the whole idea is that you're being open, you're being repenting in that idea relating to your emotions. And when I say repentance, it just means to admit. It means to confess, right? I confess that I have guilt in my heart. I confess that I have arrogance in my heart, etc. And so we basically do what we can. Through the love vibration energy that we raise up, we get high to release. So now we have a bird's eye view relating to what's down here in the heart. So here's my arrogance, here's my guilt, etc. And so I am lifting myself up with the BCR technique, breath work, calmness, positive reinforcement, right? Reinforcement or positive reinforcement. So when I notice I'm getting upset, when I'm feeling I'm getting, feeling pretty guilty about something, then I'm just going to withdraw from the space, withdraw from the situation that's causing me to get more and more upset. Just walk away from it. Now I'm going to go into a personal space, and I'm just going to start taking deep breaths, okay? Okay? Over and over and over again. If you have to really breathe in strong and breathe out strong, do it, right? The only thing that should be on your mind when you're doing the breathing is focusing on the breath. That's it. You are centered, you're calming yourself down, and then you enter that state of calmness. Okay, that's the C in BCR. Okay, then once we're calm, we just take a moment to feel that calmness, right? We're feeling that calmness now. And now we go off into reinforcement. Now we go off into positivity, right? We are reinforcing ourselves with positive energy, with love energy, okay? So then we close our eyes, we go into our perfect space, okay? This is again described in the BCR technique. And we stimulate our environment with pure love, something that brings us great joy. Maybe it's something small, right? The advice I give is if you're in a forest, you see these couple little birds perching on their shoulder. And they're just beautiful little birds. They're colorful. You make them like rainbow colored, whatever you want to do. Make them really, really beautiful. Make them something that you maybe feel is even more beautiful than the birds here on Earth, right? Just something really good. Maybe it's a little phoenix, right? Maybe there's a cute little flame that's coming out. And when they chirp, it's like just this beautiful melody. And it instantly makes you smile. As soon as you smile, or even smirk, there's this little joyful ball of energy that's popped right in front of you, okay? And you're taking that energy and you're just feeling that love. You're feeling that joy that's radiating from it, and you're becoming one with that energy, okay? Then you make it twice as big, and you feel the energy. And you make it 3 times bigger, then you feel the energy. And you make it 5 times bigger, and you feel the energy. And then you condense it into a ball, just like this, right? Now you put it into your heart, the thymus gland, the heart, etc. And now you are giving a command to the love energy that you have propagated. And now you're saying to that love energy, please clear out all of the guilt I'm feeling within my heart right now. I'm ready to forgive it. Let it be cleared. Let it be so. Okay? And now you're just taking deep breaths, and you're feeling that energy going to work within your heart, and you're feeling yourself become lighter. Okay? If you can feel this love energy, you can feel it going to work inside your body, right? I can guarantee you that. One time I put the love energy in my eyes, and my eyes were just instantly starting to water. It was so powerful, right? I was just smiling. like crazy, and I would put it into my thyroid gland as well too, and I could feel this incredible loving energy pressure of love just going in there and just cleaning out all the emotions. And it's kind of like you're aware of your emotions on a scale, right? So if we're looking at 0 to 10 on the scale, which is what I do in the EQ method, and just for the notice as well too, just for awareness, the BCR technique is a miniaturized version of the EQ method. Okay, the EQ method is the full version, but the BCR technique is just taking small elements of the EQ method and putting it together in this three-step understanding, this technique. But again, you're putting it in there and you're feeling the heart change. You're feeling yourself shifting. You feel this emotion of guilt, of arrogance, pride, shame, right? All of that is leaving your body. You feel it just being completely dissolved. Great. Now, guess what we can do? We can encrypt the organ. So now you're tuning into your heart. You're feeling wonderful. You're feeling great, right? You tune into that, saying, yes, I've cleared out so much stuff in my childhood because I was feeling shameful, I was feeling prideful, I was feeling arrogant, I was feeling guilty, and I was able to clear a lot of that out. Okay. Of course, I assign this to the three traumas, right? Abandonment, rejection, abuse. And we can certainly do it that way, but as we're working from organ to organ, we just work with the heavy emotions that are in the way, and we're clearing that out altogether. What the abandonment, rejection, and abuse does, it's helping to clear out a multitude of different emotional traumas within our body altogether. And that's a powerful thing. But that's what I would suggest working with the EQ method with that. But with the BCR technique, we're just working with heavy emotional blockages. Okay. And so we're cleaning that out. The heart is now completely pure, completely happy. It feels like it's singing in your chest. Great. Now we start connecting to spirit. Now we start connecting to our higher self. Now we start connecting to our source, whatever you want to call it. You want to connect to God. You want to connect to Creator. You want to connect with spirit in that way. That's what we do. So now we meditate and we feel that connection to the Creator. We feel that connection with spirit, because that's essential for what we're going to do next. Okay, this is why I say it's an intermediate method here. Because again, if you guys have not been able to really connect directly with spirit, I'm not talking about extraterrestrials. Okay, I'm not talking about your guides. I'm talking about going up into the higher aspects of yourself and going up into the higher self. You want to completely go past the astral. You want to be gone from the astral altogether. You want to be up on that level. Like if we were to see a thermometer, right? Here's the physical plane. Here's the astral plane. Here's the causal plane. Here's the soul plane. We're moving up here. Here's the angelic plane. Oh, this is good. This is where I want to be. I want to be up in the angelic plane. Now, here's the thing. It's not difficult for you to connect with your angels. Your angels are always around you, even if you don't think they are. Okay, you want to go up into the higher light realms, because angels are the ones that are the facilitators for working together with spirit, with working more so purely with your higher being. Okay, so you want to connect with the angelic realm, or you can connect with your higher self as well too, your soul. You can connect with that. I'd say if you're at the soul level or above, you're good. Okay. So this just requires time. This requires some meditation, okay? And you really want to feel that presence. You want to feel that higher presence with you. Now, here's the thing with a lot of people. You guys are actually will be surprised at how high up you are, okay? I could talk to a person who's very brand new to this, and then I start working with them. I say, you know, you can go right to the angelic plane, right? You don't have to worry about astral beings and extraterrestrials in the physical plane, etc. You can go way past that, right? So many of us are fascinated by the ETs, but I'm telling you guys, no offense to the ETs, there's a lot of ETs who I love as well too, but they're in the lower planes, okay? They're very much in the low planes. There's very loving beings that are in the low planes, and that's great. But when you're working with the Pleiadians, when you're working with the Arcturians, the Andromedans, etc., compared to the angels, they're very much in the low planes, okay? They're wonderful beings, they're loving beings, they're incredible beings. I've talked with a few of them. Adronis is up in the angelic planes right now. He's working in 7th density, so he would be more of an angelic being right now. He certainly is Syrian, but he would represent much more of the angelic beings. You guys can call in Adronis as well too. And if you I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, then call in Adronis. Bring Adronis in, because he's in the angelic planes. Right? If you were to see Adronis right now, as I connect with him in the 7th density, he would appear like an angel to you, right? He would have like these wings. He's very just filled with light, filled with this angelic intelligence now, right? So you can call upon Adronis as well too if you want, and say, Adronis, come in. I need help to help encrypt my heart right now because now it's clear. Okay, no problem. I will help you out. Okay, because Adronis will then start connecting with other angels, and then they'll come together as a collective, and they'll start showering all of this pure energy upon you as well too, and encrypting your organs. Okay, so that's the second step. So the first step is do the BCR technique, clear out the organ altogether. And again, do not proceed until you feel that organ is completely clear. This is where you have to tap into yourself. Like I said, this is for the intermediate. Okay, so you want to make sure you're cleared out. And once you're cleared out, now do not encrypt yourself if you're not clear. Okay, if you are not feeling clear within your heart, you do not encrypt yourself, because then you're still having that stagnancy, and it's kind of like locking some of that emotional stagnancy in your heart while you're trying to encrypt it. Then that aspect can build a lot more. Oh, Brad, can I take the encryption off the organs? Yes, you can, because you're the one that put it there, right? And it doesn't have to be about feeling the same emotion again. You're the one that gives the command and saying, whether it's Adronis, the higher self, the angels, spirit, unencrypt this organ because I still feel there's work to do. They'll do it, okay? But now no other being can come in and try to mess around with the organs. It's like hitting a brick wall as soon as it's encrypted, okay? So we're going to get into that point now about how to emotionally encrypt. So this is now speaking to you as if you're able to connect with spirit, with the angels, with Adronis, with your soul, with your higher self, okay? No astral beings whatsoever. No extraterrestrials whatsoever, unless they're up in the higher angelic planes, okay? So now we have our clear heart. Our heart is feeling wonderful. And now we're going to think of that powerful emotional catalyst that's going to help to encrypt the organ. So what we're doing now is we're instructing spirit, because spirit already knows what you're going to do before you do it, but we're just going to say it out loud for our own sake anyways. Spirit, when I say the word encrypt, my organ, my heart, will be completely covered and locked with this emotional energy so that no other being can get into my heart. It will be locked together with this loving frequency. So when I say the word encrypt, let it be done. Okay. Spirit gets what you're saying. It already knows what you're going to say before you say it. But like I said, you're saying it for your own sake. Okay. So now I put my hands upon the heart, and I'm thinking of something really, really joyful. I'm thinking of something really, really fun. This cannot be a smirk. Okay. This needs to make you so happy, so joyful. It is a powerful, positive emotion. Okay. It is pure ecstaticness. It is pure bliss. It is pure joy. All right. So if I'm basically looking at a scale from 0 to 10, over here is 0, over here is 10. We're going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Right when we're at 10, that's when we encrypt it, okay? We don't encrypt it if we're at a middle point, okay? It's not strong enough. We want it to be at a 10. The emotional energy of positivity needs to be so incredibly powerful that now you're putting that into your heart, and now it's being encrypted, okay? Once that's encrypted, you will never have a spiritual attachment from that area of your heart again, okay? That entity will be locked out. You'll never be overcloaked again, okay? So spirit will still work with you because, again, they represent a harmony. They represent a higher angelic energy that's working with you. But again, as I said, spirit never invades your body, right? They never just go in and start messing around with your organs in that sense, causing you harm, okay? They're working uplifting your system altogether. So that is completely fine, right? Because they represent the resonance of that pure joy. But a lower vibrational entity, as I'll call them, or a baseline vibration entity that's very much into the shadows, cannot allow themselves to actually go in because they can't match that frequency. So like I said, if you're just giving a little bit of emotion, they might be able to match that. But if you're like ecstatically blissful, joyful, filled with love, they can't even touch that, right? It's like they're here and you're all the way up here. They can't reach you, right? It's like an unclimbable mountain. So they can't encrypt your organs again. Or they can't go into your organs and start messing around because your organs are encrypted, okay? So if I was to give an example, okay, my heart is clear, and I've given the key word encryption, or encrypt, I should say, using the word encrypt. And now I'm just spending time in meditation, and I'm just meditating on something that is completely blissful, okay? Maybe I'm walking around in heaven. Maybe I'm holding hands with my angels. Maybe I have my soulmate right next to me holding my hand, and I'm seeing her in angelic form, and we're just walking up to this beautiful temple that represents the wholeness of our soul palace, like our palace of our soul, for example. And I'm seeing this, and I'm smiling, I'm blissful, I'm so just absolutely ecstatic with love, right? So it's at the scale, encrypt, poof, okay? And then all of a sudden, as soon as I say encrypt, bam, Spirit knows that's the cue. Your heart is now encrypted. Okay? So as soon as you hit 10, encrypt, boom. And now it's there. And now you're feeling Spirit like just locking down the heart. It has this veil around it right now. And this veil is impenetrable. Okay? So this brings itself up from the higher angelic planes and the high spiritual planes, and it's trickling itself into the physical planes as well too, which means this will actually bring your body into great health as well too. It was only just little over a few days ago. I was just before I took my road trip as well too, where I was completely encrypting my organs, right? So I cleared every single one of them out, like I did through the emotional moods of entity attachments PDF guide that's there, going through all the emotions. I even did this on the Master Force retreat that I did when I was going to a place called Golden Ears Park. I was going in there and I was just doing a lot of work on my organs, clearing it all out, clearing out a lot of the debris, canceling out the radiation that was in my body as well too. And you can do that. All Spirit wants you to do is command it. Okay? This is what I teach in the Spirit Ambassador classrooms. Go right to Spirit, because Spirit knows all. Spirit is all. It is it, right? It's much more powerful than just working with guides and working with extraterrestrials and working with parallel selves and all this, even more than working with the angels. The angels will basically be the worker bees, but they are getting all the commands from Spirit, right? So the best way I can put it is that I have a pretty good relationship with Archangel Michael, okay? So when I'm connecting with Spirit and I'm saying, okay, here's a Spirit code for this, here's a Spirit code for clearing out my lungs of excess mucus, here's a Spirit code for clearing out all the radiation in my body and then clearing that out. And now I just feel that energy just instantly lifting up, right? So the angels are the facilitators of the codes, but they're God's codes. They're the Creator's codes. So you're working with God. You're working with the Creator. You're working with the One, in that sense, the Divine One, the Creator of this universe, okay? So you are working with the angels, and the angels are facilitating this, but again, this is all coming from Creator. This is all coming from Spirit. This is all coming from God, the Mother, the Father, etc., right? Whatever you want to call her, him, it. So again, we say encrypt, and now our heart is completely encrypted. And we can actually check this through divination as well, too. So there's muscle testing, okay? There's pendulums, okay? You can check it with pendulums. You can check it with muscle testing. You do some type of divination, okay? You can even intuitively check in, and you can feel it as well, too. But I would say do a couple of different things, okay? Don't just rely solely on your intuition, which is a very powerful thing, a wonderful thing, but we want to have multiple confirmations here, okay? We may want to pull something from our tarot deck, okay? And just saying, is there one card reading that gives me the impression that my heart is now encrypted, and maybe you'll get something amazing, right? Maybe you'll get the sun, for example. Great, powerful, that's amazing. So we're getting multiple confirmations that our heart is now encrypted with Spirit energy, with that pure emotional energy, and that's the bind, and it's binded itself directly into the heart. Now, we just continue to do that from the top down with every organ, with every gland, with every bodily system that's connected together with the PDF guide that I created with emotional moods and of entity attachments. Okay, so we just clean out those areas. Those are major areas. Okay, you do not really need to worry about the blood cells or anything of that nature. Entities won't encrypt themselves in blood cells. They will go into centers. Okay, they can go into your chakras. You can encrypt your chakras as well too. But if you already have your your main organs encrypted, you won't really need to be concerned about the chakras themselves, because the chakras are linked to all of the organs. So if your organs are already encrypted, you don't really need to concern about encrypting your chakra centers as well too. As I've talked about as well too, for those of you who are working with the tiens or the dens, you never have to encrypt them because that's just coming out of pure love, right? The three minds, right? The lower tien near the navel, the middle tien up by the heart, the thymus gland, and the upper tien by the pineal. Okay, when you start working on activating on the three minds, the three tiens, you never have to encrypt them because they're pure golden light, right? You can't take those over. It's not possible. When you eventually get to the point of you working with your tiens, and I'm still working with mine as well too, you can integrate your chakra centers into the three. So this is kind of going a little bit off topic, but again, people who tell you, oh, you know what, you should have chakra removal. You should remove your chakras. And no, never do that. Okay, that's just my own perspective. You never want to do that. That is just disrupting your system because your system has not aligned itself to function without the idea of the chakra centers. And really, I don't even know if it's even possible of another person to actually remove your chakra centers unless you give some type of permission. Really, my recommendation with that, because I've had people approach me about that and say, Brad, what do you think of that? I said, don't do it. It's very, very stupid if you do that. So what we want to do is we want to build on the tiens. Okay, so we make the tiens fill. We start working with Qigong. We start working with Taoism practices. We just start filling up the tiens with Qi. And then as we get all three completely filled up, now we can integrate the chakra centers into the tiens. Okay, so basically you would have the lower three chakra centers connecting directly to the lower tien. Then you'd have the other two here connected to the heart. Then you have the other two connected up into the upper tien, okay, up in the pineal gland. And then you're encrypting the chakra centers, meaning the chakra centers that are there, or I'm going to say, sorry, encrypting. You're integrating the chakra centers, and now they are full spectrums of golden light. Now, if you guys who are very visual relating to aura, or actually being able to see chakra centers, if you see a person that has golden energy up through their chakra centers, they've basically integrated that with their tiens. Sometimes this can happen automatically. 90% of the time, I'd say you have to work toward it. But if you're noticing a person that has golden chakra centers, they are completely integrated with their tiens. Okay, and now you're a spark of joy. In the best way I can put it, you're really completely boundless and free when you have a person that has pure golden chakra centers infused together with their tiens. That's one of the ultimate states, okay, is to get into that particular alignment and start going into fusion, integrating the chakra centers with the tiens all together, okay? So this is just giving you guys a bit of a foresight relating to what needs to be done. So I just used the heart as an example about how to encrypt. Okay, if I wanted to go into the lungs as well too, we would look into the emotional aspect that represents the lungs, which would represent that of anxiety, panic, and grief, okay? So we would see the idea of anxiety, panic, and grief, and we'd start working with that all together. We'd start clearing all that out. We'd use the BCR technique, the EQ method, spirit codes, whatever, if you need my help to help you out with that. That's why I'm here. If you guys have like a lot of stuff in your organs and you need someone to help you out, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing, okay? So you can always come to me. Like I said, this can be done in private sessions with me as well too, as I'm going to help you and coach you and guide you through the way. Again, if this may be seeming like pretty overwhelming to you, because it was a little bit to me. It's like, whoa, that's quite a bit of work to do this, to get the organs encrypted. It took me about 3 or 4 days to encrypt all of the organs. I had to go through every single one. I had to do a lot of forgiving. I had to do a lot of clearing because I was going back into flashbacks. It's like just looking at those flashbacks that come to you. It's like the moment before you die. You see like your life unfolding before your eyes. Well, that's exactly what it was feeling like, right? I would go into my brain, I'd go into my throat, my thyroid, I'd go into the lungs, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, etc. And I'd see all of this emotional debris. It wasn't much, but it was still some things that were happening, right? Even going down into the genitals, the prostate gland as well too. Men and women both have prostate glands, right? So we can work on that. We can clear all that out. And that too is linked to a lot of the sexual centers, just focusing on the genitals themselves as well too. The ovaries, testicles, right? That too functions relating to the idea of clearing all of that emotional debris out. Actually, what I discovered, my most compromised area in my entire body was the genitals. Okay, the genitals were the most compromised area in the body. If I was actually to put it on a scale, right, here's 0, here's 10, It was about 17. It was that compromised because I was going into very great depths relating to certain other emotions, right? The idea of jealousy, envy, anything of that nature, right? There's a lot of things here that I did not realize were still hanging around. And I went in and I cleared all of that out. And when I did, it was like, oh, you just become this pillar of golden light afterwards. You feel so free. This is why encryption isn't so difficult after you start clearing out the organs, because you feel completely blissed out, right? You're putting all this love energy and you're constantly in the bird's eye view of love. And so now you're just flying over the valley of yourself where you see all these stains of heavy emotions and you're clearing them all out. And when you start clearing them out, you feel amazing. This is why it's really no problem when you start encrypting, right? So again, you tell spirit, I'm ready to encrypt. And when I say encrypt, we're going to take the emotion that I put a lot of power into, and we're just going to create a veil. We're going to create a shield around the entire organ, inside and around it, and completely encrypt it so that no intrusive entities can come into it. Okay, so that's what encrypt means. And so now spirit knows what you're saying. Like I said, it already knows what you're saying before you say it, but it wants you to understand it as well too. And then when you get into that really, high peak of love, encrypt, boom, and then you feel your angels, you feel God coming in and encrypting that entire area of your body, and you feel so amazing. So like I said, I've been encrypting my own organs. I've had absolutely no health problems whatsoever. Okay, and then before, there's times where I'd have midday crashes, right? Like it'd be around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I just start yawning a lot. I'd be, oh God, I don't think I want to do any more work, and I couldn't even explain about how I was just getting so tired, how I'd get these tired hits. And then when I heard a lot of it was radiation and other debris that was happening inside my body, I'm like, this makes a lot of sense, right? So now I start cleaning it out. Now I start encrypting. Full vitality throughout the entire day. And it feels amazing now. It feels great. So I want to share this with you guys. Like I said, I know it's a bit of an intermediate practice, but I really want to put it out there for you guys, again, for those of you who are quite well disciplined, who are able to work with yourself and helping to clear out a lot of the emotions within the organs, and now being able to work with the soul level plane and above, right? So again, moving past the astral plane, moving past the causal plane, and going right up into the soul planes, the angelic planes, the oversoul planes, the higher light planes, the plane of God, right? And being able to connect with that energy and bringing that energy down into you and infusing it with this really powerful emotion. So like I said, cannot just be, it's an okay, feeling. I feel kind of content. No, not enough. You got to be ecstatic. You got to be just, it's orgasmic, really, right? You have to be really, really strong, and you're feeling this so much love. I'm not saying you have to hit the peak of orgasm, but you're just feeling something that's just a really powerful, loving emotion, right? You're feeling joy, you're feeling ecstasy, you're in complete and total bliss. Then you encrypt, because when you're in that particular vibration, no bottom feeding, lower vibrational base entity can come in and even touch your organ. They can't. It's like them being blinded by a light that is so bright, right? They're just, I can't go near it, it's too bright, right? That's exactly what it is. It's having this gigantic spirit spotlight shine right in their face. I can't do this, right? And they got to go. So this is basically what's keeping all of those entities out of you, right? So that leads me to the second part, okay? Now, when you boot out the soul rebels, because that's what a lot of them are, and I've talked about soul rebels in the past, the soul rebellions as well too, the demonic entities in that way, they won't give up, okay? Now here's what they do afterwards, because this is exactly what happened to me. After I completely encrypted my organs, they just stick around with thought influence, okay? They try and make you think as negatively as possible. So what they'll basically do is they'll start to throw a lot of these heavy thoughts at you. And you'll usually wake up like 3 o'clock in the morning and you're just feeling all of this like negative bombardment, like curse spirit and spirit is awful and spirit sucks and you're this and this, and they throw all this thought energy right at you because they can't come into your body anymore, right? They're locked out. So what they do is they hover around your aura, okay? And they start throwing all of this nastiness towards your aura. The second thing you can do is you start encrypting your auric field, okay? So what you're doing is you're just telling spirit from my vital body, which is just the area of the energy of the aura that wraps around the skin, into the, you could say the etheric auric body as well too. Sorry guys, I'm getting pit stains in my shirt already. Getting sweaty telling you all this stuff. But again, you go from the vital body all the way out into the greater stretches of the etheric field. And you, again, go back into that joyful feeling. So before you go into that joyful feeling, you just want to be aware about what is in your field, okay? Now, what you'll discover is you'll just find that there'll be a lot of other thoughts being rubbed off from other people, right? If you meet a very negative person on the street, you may just tune into that thought form, okay? And again, some other things. Maybe there's things with family or anything like that. It's basically just things that are on the surface that you'll find within your aura, within your auric field. You may also find attachments connected into the auric field as well, too, because they can't touch your body. So they're going to do everything they can to try and manipulate your aura altogether, okay? So again, you're just encrypting your aura. So you're telling spirit from my vital body all the way out into my etheric field, completely encrypt this, right? But firstly, we want to clean it out. We want to bring a lot of love energy, and we're telling the love energy, clear away all surface debris of thoughts, attachments, implants within my auric field. Let it be gone completely, okay? And now you feel love going to work, and it just feels like there's a lightness that's just kind of causing your body to vibrate. Like it just feels like a nice buzzing sensation, right? When you put all that love energy into your auric field. And so then you get the love energy to clear all that out. And now you're just testing it, okay? So you're doing divination again, okay? You're doing muscle testing. You're doing pendulum work. You're doing tarot. You're doing your own intuition. And you're making sure, is my auric field completely clear, right? Even if you're feeling really, really good, you say it anyways, okay? You say it anyways, and you let that happen. And now you go back into that really powerful feeling again, right? Bring it up the scale. Spirit already knows what it means for an encryption to happen, to say the word encrypt. Now you're at 10 out of 10. Encrypt. Poof. And now you feel your aura completely encrypted with this high emotional energy. Now they can't even get into your auric field. But that still won't stop them. They'll start coming into your thought energy. Okay? And this is the one where I was really stumped. I was absolutely stumped by this. And I said, what do I do? They're like trying to come in through the thought channels, the thought waves, to come right into the brain. So the firstly, they'll try and come into your physical body. They'll try and come into your emotional body, into your emotional organs. Then they'll start trying to come into your aura, and then they'll start coming into your thought transmissions as well too. Just in the idea of where thought waves, the torsion field energy, is coming into yourself. They will try and intercept that and try and bring in some negative feedback altogether. So I was stumped. Like, okay, do I need to like start analyzing the brain and finding out exactly what centers are being compromised here? And the answer was no. No, there is actually a very, very simple way to do it. So what I did is I connected with my angels. Okay, so my angels, all three of them, Jazziel, Raziel, and Auriel, their spirit codes are imbued entirely into this pendulum. And what I was doing is I was actually having a communication with them where I would use just the alphabet and they would spell something out for me. Okay, so what I asked them is saying, what can I do to help filter out these thought patterns that are coming in through the soul rebels? What is it that I can do? And they don't speak English in that way, but they did what they could. And they said, produce a sky above it. Produce a sky above it. Huh. Produce a sky above it. That was their own words. It was not through me channeling. This was all coming through divination. And so they were trying to spell out certain words, but they may not know how to spell it out properly. Actually, the three angels that I work with were Jewish in a previous lifetime, a long time ago, and they reached a certain state of ascendancy. So they did not really speak English in that way, but they did a good job trying to spell this out for me. So produce a sky above it. And I got, oh, okay, I think I see what you're saying. An energy veil, a thought veil over the brain. Like, yes, right? Have a thought veil, a thought energy veil across the brain just like this. You're commanding spirit to create this thought veil. And what it's doing is it acts like a magnet. And it's pulling out any particular forms of negative, intrusive energy out to the brain, and it's filtering it up all the way up to source. And then when thought energy comes together, it starts filtering it through the veil and putting it through the body in that way. So that's exactly what I got Spirit to do. I said, okay, create this thought veil, this thought energy veil that kind of feels like a sky right above your head. And then being able to, again, go into the high emotions, encrypt it, and now it's programmed in that particular way. I haven't really had any negative thoughts. It's quite nice. And if I do, there's no real feeling behind it. There's no real emotions behind it. I mean, you don't get emotionally attached to it, right? So someone could come up to you and say, Spirit sucks, right? I don't know why you'd say that, but that's what they were saying in my mind. And I just, there was no malice, there was no feeling. It's kind of like you're just letting this flow down the river without any problems whatsoever, right? So that basically represents the idea of thought encryption. So what you're doing is you're not encrypting the thoughts itself, but you're putting a sky above it, right? You're putting a veil just above your head, just a couple of feet over your head, and you are encrypting it. Now, this is very advanced, okay? This is a very, very advanced thing. I couldn't even really figure it out until my angels were telling me about it. And I had to really kind of sit down and do this. So again, if you guys want to know how to do that, you can come to me and I can help teach you to it so you can do it yourself. Or if you want me to help you with it, that's up to you guys as well too. But it's not something I really want to teach right now because it's very complicated. It's very advanced. And I'd really like for people who are much more connected to spirit to work together with that. But again, in a nutshell, it really is just creating an energy veil. You're telling spirit to create an energy veil, and that it has specific properties within it that again acts as a magnet. And it's just completely repelling all of this negative energy, negative thought forms out of your mind altogether, and then putting it up into source, and then bringing pure, loving source energies through this veil and coming into your being altogether. Okay, so that's what I can share relating to that. So this is kind of like the big overview relating to emotional encryption. But again, step one is working with the BCR technique, being familiar with emotional moods of entity attachments, working with your organs, clearing all of that out, okay? Clear out all the debris, and then again, working with encrypting your organs. Secondly, you go into your auric field, and you start clearing out your aura, right? And you get that encrypted as well too. And then thirdly, if you wish, you don't have to, but if you wish, you can look into the idea of thought energy encryption as well too. So those are the 3 stages that I have personally discovered thus far relating to emotional encryption. Okay, so that's going to wrap up my presentation for today for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this and take it for what it's worth. It's up to you. I mean, it's your guys' life. You decide what you want to do with yourself. I'm just offering this because it's something that's really been helpful for me. And as it's a truth for me, I become an authority of it. And so I'm sharing that aspect of the authority of truth that I've self-discovered and sharing it with you guys to see if it may help you as well too. But you can always take it or leave it. It's always up to you. Okay, so I'm going to open up the chat here and see. Looks like I got a contribution from Belwinder Singh. Thank you, Belwinder. That was very nice of you. You're very sweet. Okay, guys, so we'll spend this last about 15-20 minutes for any Q&A that you guys may have. Looks like we have a lot of a lot of comments on the chat here, so I'm just gonna kind of scroll up and down and see. Here's this one that kind of caught my eye. Al Max says, "Hey Brad, we asked Bashar about 2037. He said he couldn't talk about it yet. Yeah, there's a reason, because he doesn't have authority over it. Okay. Now this is something I'm going to talk to you guys as well about too, very quickly. You're really only going to get to know more about 2037 when you start talking to angelic intelligence. Okay. So a lot of astral beings don't know, or they may in that sense not be having authorization to know, to actually share that information with you. No offense to Bashar. Wonderful guy, wonderful being. But he would not be on that level of receiving that information. Or if he does, he has to withhold it. Okay? I'm basically telling you, everybody that really is in the know about what is really happening in the grand scheme of things relating to Earth right now is aware of 2037 and 2038. Okay? They, again, may not have authorization. They may not have permission to do it. Or they may not be personally ready to actually share that information, because it's a powerful realization, right? Adronis came in and confirmed it, right? But that is him in the 7th density. That's his angelic form. I can't say what it would be like with Adronis in the 6th density to share that. Maybe he couldn't, right? But when he's in the 7th, and I'm connecting to his 7th density self, yes, because he's much more angelic right now, he's able to talk about this and share a lot about 2037. So I'm glad you guys actually talked to Bashar about that. That was great. But this is kind of what I'm getting from the angelic realms as well too. It's saying it's basically the higher ups that are knowing about 2037. A lot of the astral beings that are working around the earth, again, two things. Either one, they're oblivious to it. Two, they are aware of it, but they don't have authorization to share it. All right, it's for the angels. It's for the higher angelic realms. May need to come through certain people and share this information. So, like I said, when people are connecting directly to their source, to their higher self, right, that's like a type of angelic intelligence as well too. And you can get that information about 2037 and 2038. And like I said, the only people that have really been speaking about 2037 are myself and a few researchers who were able to look at the Egyptian timeline, the pyramid timeline relating to 2038, like John Van Elken, for example. Okay, he knows about this. So it's great. It's just great to have confirmation about that. And like I said, I wasn't even aware of John Van Elken information about 2038 until after Spirit gave me this information. There's a funny thing with my girlfriend as well too, because she's very, very psychic, right? And she would see me watching these videos, and then she would tell me, "Oh, Brad, you just got to be careful with this 2037 thing. I don't know if it's ever going to come to pass." And she was telling me it's kind of like Spirit pulled her and said, "It is going to come to pass. This is not a maybe. This is a definite." And she's like, okay, I'm going back. She was telling me this story not too long ago. I was like, well, okay, well, there you go, right? That's Spirit telling you this. Like I said, if you are really, really connected to Spirit and connected to the higher angels, please, guys, that's where I suggest you put your energy, okay? No offense to the ETs. I love the guys, right? But again, a lot of them aren't receiving this information. A lot of them still think that they're the creators in the center of creation. They're not. This is God's universe, okay? You're in the center of this universe, and you certainly have a lot of say-so. But again, this is relating to what God has created for you. You are a God in training, okay? This is what Adronis has talked about since I started channeling him. He called you guys gods in training, called me gods in training. Bashar refers to us as the masters of limitation, but this is even greater, relating to the idea of gods in training. When you're gods in training, you're going beyond the idea of a mastership, right? You're coming into the idea where you're pure God, you're pure creator, but you're training yourself in this universe. So this entire universe is like a training ground. It's like a training regiment, right? Or a training university, where we are learning how to develop ourselves because we're understanding through incarnation all the forms of life in the living universe created by the living creator. And then as we start to move up into the higher planes, we become in greater service to the Creator because we want to be aware about how all of this unfolds, about how the universe is actually created, how we can do all this. And then, as we reach that particular peak of graduation, you will have your own universe. Okay, God will basically say, here's the mainframe, here's your universe, go ahead and create. Create every particular form of life. Be aware of every particular grain of life that's in that universe. Right now, we as human beings can't even fathom that. Can you guys just imagine what it's like to be every grain of sand on a beach, every tree in a forest, every drop of water, every human being that's on this planet, every animal, the atmosphere, the air, right? All of the elements. And then moving on into other planets, and then moving on to other stars, and then moving on to other galaxies, and seeing galaxies upon galaxies and galaxies, and seeing all of this life, countless connections, and you feel every single one. In fact, you don't just feel, you have a personal relationship with every single one. You have a personal relationship with every grain of sand. I can't even fathom that, right? This is why we're going through God's universe. We're being trained. God is training his children, so that her children will actually have their own universe, and they will start creating that, and it comes all the way back to their parent, okay? So it's like the idea, here's the pyramid of God, here's you working under, and again, and more and more and more universes, and you'll continue to be that, right? But you will never, ever kick the Creator off his throne, because again, you are the product of the creation, right? You can never have your own creation dominate you, right? It's like if I was to basically create this beautiful picture, beautiful work of art, and all of a sudden that thing just starts coming alive as a thought form and saying, hey, Brad, I'm going to replace you. I'm going to kick you off your throne. You can't kick me off my throne. I created you, right? I created you. You're part of me. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. But here's what you can do is now you can start creating as a creation that I've created for you. So now that I have imbued a lot of my intelligence into you, you start creating under you. And now you bring all that back to me because I created you, right? This is again like our own creations. Our music isn't just going to come alive and saying, hey, I'm going to take you over. I'm going to completely vanquish you from existence, and I'll write all the songs. So now, what are you talking about, man? You're a song, right? You're a part of my intelligence, but you're not taking me over, right? The creation can never take over the creator. Okay, that is the way of how it is going to be. But that creation can now start to create other things under themselves. And now they become that God for those creations, but then it goes up into the higher God, into the one God in that way. That's what we represent. This is why I'm saying that we're not the center of creation, right? We, again, as a soul, we will always have our own experiences, but we're here to really work together with all the facets that the universe has. It's here for us to understand all of these things, not to become so heavily selfish, where we think that this is it, this is me, everything here is all about me and to hell with everybody else, etc. And you're going to get lost in that particular type of mentality. Okay. So again, Elle, thank you so much for bringing that in. I know I went a little bit deeper than what your comments stated, but that again is what I'm saying with a lot of other beings. A lot of beings in the astral will not really be available to give you guys answers about 2037. Again, it's the two possibilities. One, they're oblivious to it. Two, they are aware of it, but they can't divulge it for some reason. Okay. From what basically Bashar said, he couldn't talk about it, meaning he does know about it, but it's not for him to share this information. Okay. As I've said, guys, and I'm not saying this to boast, I'm the only guy that's basically shared this information on the entire planet right now. Okay. And I'm not saying that to boast in that particular way, but basically there's a person that starts it, and then other people will start to get that information as well too. Now, it's again, as I've talked about, for people that move up into fourth density, you're going to start seeing overlays of this happening in the years ahead, which means you'll feel like you're interacting in two worlds, right? It's like your astral eyes will start seeing this world, and it's a beautiful world. Again, I've been there a couple times already. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, right? And you'll just start to feel a lot more deeper connected to it, and that's kind of how it's going to play out. It's kind of like you're looking at two worlds, and they're merging together with one at the same time that two worlds are splitting. It's really interesting, right? It's kind of like there's an opposite effect. Here's the planetary mitosis, as Adronis calls it. But again, at that time that's happening, here's us in our perspective in the third, here's us in our perspective of the fourth, and they will mesh together. And it's like you're overlaying yourself on two different Earths. I'm just starting to experience that now. There's other people who I've talked to as well, too, have said that they've seen another Earth, very much like what I've described. Here's fourth density Earth. Now, you guys can see my little sky background here, right? Imagine there's another Earth in that sky, okay? That'll be third density Earth. Imagine the moon over there, okay? That'll be the third density moon. There will not be a fourth density moon, okay? That's the only celestial body in our star system that is not advancing to fourth density. Why? Because it's derelict, okay? It's not indigenous to the star system. Everything else here is. The moon, Earth's moon, is not indigenous. It came from Ursa Minor, okay? So that is a derelict moon. That's a Draco moon, you could say. And it was basically parked around first Meldeck, and I think also a time around Mars, and then it came to Earth. So it's not indigenous to the star system. It's not looking to be moved up into the fourth density because it is a derelict body. It does not belong here. It's not part of our solar body here in that way. So it's going to basically remain in third density, which means fourth density Earth will have no moon. Okay, it'll be moonless in that way. It'll be completely its own planetary Earth body. Okay, so let's move on down here. I'm just kind of scrolling in through some comments, guys. We're only about 10 minutes left. So, okay, so from Valorous, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. So simplifying the process, clear my heart organs from negative energies, emotions, feel something very good of my choice, reach the apex of it, and declare encrypt. Yep. You got it, okay? So like I said, you want to go deep. You just want to be aware of the emotions that are in your heart. So like I said within that PDF guide, okay? There's guilt, there's shame, there's pride, there's arrogance. Okay, so that's just the idea of an overview. There may be some sub-emotions attached to that as well too. But what you're doing is you're taking your time. You're just meditating on that. You're feeling in that sense. These are a lot of things I need to work on. So here's an advice I have for you guys. Advice that I have for you guys is have a notebook, okay? And just start writing out what you're feeling in the heart right now. So that PDF guide is just a template to helping you out, giving you an idea about certain things that may be locked inside the heart, or locked inside the kidneys, or locked inside the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, etc. So what you're doing is you're using your own time and going deeply within and start saying, yes, I can remember something when I was 5 years old and I felt very, very guilty when this happened, etc. Okay, good. You do not need to explore the story of your emotion, okay? You don't need to worry about going off on a tangent and start, fumbling over yourself relating to the story that's happened when you're 5 years old. Just remember what happened. Okay, this is where it came from. It came from 5 years old and this took place. Okay, plain and simple. Done. Now you're aware of it, okay? So we don't want to trail off into the story. We just want to be aware about how this emotion made us feel, right? So we feel the intensity of that emotion. So I feel that it's very, very strong, okay? That's what we want. We want the energetic of that emotion to be felt, okay? And that we're admitting that to the idea. That's the idea of the repentance, okay? So we're repenting the idea. We're confessing, yes, this is my emotion. This is what's come in. I felt that energy. I felt bad about it. Okay, but don't go too off into the story. Oh, this person should have done this, and if this happened, I wouldn't have been in this mess. Nope, we don't want to go there, okay? We don't want to go off into the aspect of the blame game. We don't want to go off tumbling down the hill relating to all of this should have, could have, would have, hypothetical stuff, right? We want to just feel the emotion. We know it's there. It's very intense. Okay, write that down. So now I can start clearing that out. So I start clearing out that emotion. Okay, is there anything else? Is there guilt? Is there shame? Is there pride? Is there arrogance? Right? Is there anything else? Did I get it all? Okay, and that's what you're asking the heart. You're asking your heart, did I get it all? Did I get all the stuff? No, you forgot about this when you were 8 years old. Oh, yeah, right. I felt guilt there as well, too. So you're just doing it, being as thorough as you can, clearing out as much as possible, okay? When you're working with your heart is going to give you everything you want. This is kind of like where I've talked about shadow law and light law, right? When you're working with your shadows will reveal everything to you, right? They're not going to conceal, I mean, they do conceal, but really when you're working together with a shadow, the shadow is like that Saturday morning cartoon villain, right? They have the hero strapped to a big log and they're about to be grinded up into a saw. But before that happens, I'm going to tell you my master plan, right? So this is exactly what's happening with the shadow, with the emotions, is they will tell you everything about that. Emotions are their own intelligence. And we can see them in that sense as a villain. Really, they're not. But what I'm saying here is that this is what's going to bring about all the information, the insight that you need to help clearing out the emotion, right? We don't need to look at its backstory. We just need to know, okay, this is exactly when it happened, and this is how intense it feels. I admit that. Okay, that's all we need. We're not saying, do I need to forgive this person who did a horrible thing to me, who assaulted me, who attacked me, who molested me, whatever it may have been, right? We're not concerned about that person. We're looking at the emotion about what has actually been triggered, right? So that emotion is what has made things worse. So we want to go into that emotion. We want to talk to it. We want to, again, admit this is our emotion and just be aware about how intense, how it makes you feel, okay? That's it. So you're writing these down in your notebook. And now you're able to clear it out. Now you're able to go into BCR technique, breath work, calmness, reinforcement, and start working this out. And if you guys need help, that's why I'm here, okay? It's a 20% offer right now, so you guys can take advantage of that. So again, that's what I can share with you, Valorous. But again, that's very, very good. Yes, that's exactly what I've been sharing throughout the breakdown of emotional encryption today. Okay, we're going to take one more question before we wrap up. Sorry, guys. I was really going off on the emotional encryption because it's a big topic. I apologize if we don't have enough time for Q&A today. Okay, well, this one's kind of an important question, so I'll end on this one. This one here is from Rocco KH. Hi, Brad. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. How do I know that my heart chakra is active? Okay, well, that's something you should feel, okay? You have to get used to your feelings, because I have had people in the past come up to me and say, I don't know how my heart's feeling. I don't know how to connect with that. Then you need to start working together with higher states of feeling, right? You need to stimulate yourself. When's the last time you actually smiled? Right? Was there something recently that made you smile, made you happy, made you laugh? Well, guess what? That shows you have feeling, right? So your heart's still there, it's still beating in your chest, but you want to start tapping into the heart. You want to start tapping into feelings, okay? This is the fourth density principle, right? When you're moving into the fourth density principle, you are a heart-sensitive person, or in that way, you are heart adaptive, okay? You are able to work in great adaptation with the heart, with what the feelings are trying to tell you, okay? This is so important. A lot of us, again, who are maybe just getting out of an old situation and we're coming into a new understanding, our inner journey, we have basically just been focusing on the lower three chakras, right? We've been focusing on the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. A lot of these are pleasure centers, right? We want to get past that. We want to move up into the heart. So we want to take time and saying, well, is there any little feeling of joy, little feeling of emotion that I felt? If I'm able to look back in the past where I stubbed my toe, or maybe I got an argument with my dad, or whatever it may be, how did it make me feel? I want to go back into that body of my 8-year-old self when I was having a fight with my dad. And I'm just remembering that. I remember I felt shocked. Good. You're opening your heart, okay? So you want to spend as much time opening your heart as much as possible, and you do that by being very aware of your feelings, okay? It's like a blossoming flower. The more love, the more compassion that you put toward your own feelings, the more that's going to open up. You just want to be aware. Be aware of your compassion. Be aware of your feelings, okay? So you want to go back into those times, even if it's a few days ago, and say, this happened, and it made me smile. I was so happy. Good, right? People just don't remember that they're happy. They remember so much of the tragedy of their lives. And what also happens is that, again, people get so caught up relating to the nature of trauma, the nature of tragedy altogether, which means we only focus on the sine wave of reality that goes this big, right? If it's something soft and subtle and loving and caring, it doesn't get so much of our attention. We focus on the melodrama, right? We want to get past that idea. We want to start focusing on the subtle things, right? The things that make us happy, the things that make us smile, the things that make us feel joyful, the things where there is kindness and compassion and consideration, right? Those are the things that are really going to open up your heart, because it's a very, very subtle universe. That's how the universe works. It's very subtle. It's when we come in with our thoughts, because man is the most powerful being there is, and we start making things loud, right? Everything that we do, everything that we put out emotion-wise, echoes throughout the nature of the universe, which means we are creating certain aspects of the universe that remain undeveloped based on these thought forms of emotion. Echoes throughout the entire grid of the universe. It's not just some planetary system, okay? It's going to continue to expand and go out further, and it's going to continue to bring out thought forms that'll touch other planes, that'll touch other areas of the universe left undeveloped. And then it's going to start bringing in manifestations and opening up portals and opening up new dimensions for those particular forms of energies to cultivate into some type of form based upon what we are thinking and our emotions at this time. That's how powerful humanity is, ladies and gentlemen. It's how powerful we are. We are helping to spawn life into this universe based upon how we are thinking, feeling, and working together with emotions upon our daily lives. We don't even realize that. Everything, like you see this night sky behind me, right? It's like these thoughts are coming out and they're touching all of those stars, and they're going beyond, and they're looking at areas that, again, are in void. And they can start to materialize and manifest and create portals and start bringing in the spawning of new life that comes together based upon the energy of thoughts and emotions that we produce. That's the power of mankind. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful interaction today. Again, I apologize if I wasn't able to get around to all of your sessions, or to all your to all of your questions. My apologies, I'm in another space right now. To all of your questions today, but again, I'll be back on Friday, and we'll have healing and Q&A there as well, too. So just one last reminder, if you go to newearthteachings.com, promo code Encrypt20, that's capital letters, Encrypt20, get 20% off all products on New Earth Teachings. And again, this is valid until the end of day, Tuesday, June 25th. Okay, so 60-minute sessions are also available there as well, too. If you guys need some help with emotional encryption or anything of that nature, absolutely, that's why I'm here. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today in this special Sunday edition of New Earth Teachings Live, and I will speak to you again on Friday. And be wonderful, be in enjoyment wherever you are in the world, and continue to work with these practices. That's why I put them out, because this is something that everybody needs to know, right? This is your own natural evolution, your own natural development that's happening, and I'm just doing what I can that's worked for me as a perspective that I'm sharing that can possibly work for you too as well, if you're willing to explore that further. All right, so take care, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now, and may the Creator's essence be with you always. Take care.